Hello? I'm the editing clone. I don't usually do this kind of thing. The presenting clone's back in his pod, and we can't wake him back up for another week. And the video's got a slight echo. I've tried to fix it. Everything should be okay, as long as nobody tells Prime.
Hello you wonderful people, welcome back. We broke 100 subscribers, so before we get into the video I would like to say thank you for everybody who has subscribed to me, and I would like to add that 75% of you aren't subscribed. Just hit the button, it doesn't hurt. But yeah, let's get straight into it, yeah?
I used to look like you, but just like a mess. Nah, that's not me. Nah, that's not me.
Whoa, there was no transition. They just went from normal girl to that.
I used to
Normal
look
girl,
like
normal
you,
girl,
but just
normal
like a
girl,
mess.
normal
Nah,
girl,
that's
normal
not
girl.
me. Nah, that's not me.
What happened?
POV, a Florida classroom.
That is true. Like, I don't understand what happens to these people either, because if you felt that way, surely it would make more sense for it to be like a gradual change. You wouldn't just snap overnight, like over the course of like 8 months. I'd assume. I could be wrong. This stuff is not okay. Like, I don't understand how people can't see it swinging too far the other way. I don't get it. How is it okay for, like, it's just okay to be racist against one group? It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. But I suppose this is probably what people have thought all throughout history when racism's happened. Like, I bet it's never made sense to anybody ever. Like, it's
You know what
weird.
I don't get is why people still see me as a woman. What more could I be doing? I literally cut my titties off. I don't think I look like a woman. So why does everybody?
You do look like a woman. It's because being a woman is so deeply ingrained in who you are that in order to look like a woman from cosmetic surgery, you need to get your face done too. That's why Dylan, what's his name? Dylan, I can't remember his name, the guy who's doing Girlhood, Days of Girlhood. He's had to have facial reconstruction. He looks a bit like Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner now. They look very similar because they've got the same nose, same chin. Look it up, I'll put a picture on screen. So if you want to look like a man, you're going to have to do the same thing. So you're probably, men have got, typically they've got bigger foreheads and bigger chins, typically. So you're probably going to have to get your forehead smashed to pieces and reshaped, and you're probably going to have to get like your jawline augmented to present facially as a man. That's what you're going to have to do. That's why people don't see you as a man. There you go. That's the honest truth for you. The channel where honesty is the best policy.
My name is Asher, and this is my voice 1 week on TV.
So this is a great idea. If you are able to and don't have too much like voice dysphoria in order to record yourself, you'll notice the differences that happen, because sometimes you can't really tell unless you hear it like this. That is changing. And you know, the timeline's going to be different for everyone. Oh, look at you with the top surgery. That's amazing. You look great.
Wow, oh, that hurt. Wow.
Yeah, no lifting the arms above your shoulders for 6
My name
weeks.
is Asher, and this is my voice.
Your
3
voice
months
sounds
on
great.
testosterone.
3 months, wow. So again, if it's not there at 3 months, don't worry, it will get
My name
there.
is Asher, and this is my voice 4
Oh, my
months on TV.
dude. Nice.
See, that woman is going to experience the same problem. She's had the top surgery, she's gone on testosterone and stuff like that. Her voice is going to deepen, fair enough, but she's still going to have a round womanly face. She's still going to have a round womanly face, so she'll need to get facial reconstruction done for her to believe, like for people to perceive her and her to believe that she actually presents as a man. She'll have to do a face. This is why I made a video in the past saying that it will turn you into perpetual patience, because it'll never quite be enough. It'll never quite be enough because it's unobtainable. You cannot change your sex, right? So you can just constantly edge yourself closer to presenting that way, but it's just going to cost more and more money. It's going to give you more and more pain, more and more trauma down the line. I don't understand why that's a better option than trying to deal with what's going on in your mind. I don't get why spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, going unconscious numerous times, being under the knife, being smashed to pieces and restructured. I don't know why that's a better alternative. But you have to do a lot more. You'd have to do a lot more, because if I was to try and look like a woman now, I'd already have a hard enough time because I'm 6 foot. I'd have to get all my... Look at my forehead. That is not a woman's forehead. I would stick out like a sore thumb.
Oh boy. White cis women, we need to talk. Take a deep breath.
Sorry, ladies, I've got you.
And let's talk. Some of you just now reacted to me saying cis. That defensiveness comes from white supremacy culture. It's okay to be all up in your feelings like that. But it's not okay to use your feelings as an excuse to harm others. We need to pause, allow ourselves to feel our feelings, and process through why those were the feelings that we had. Then you can address the underlying thought that caused that feeling. Only when we have thoroughly processed our feelings and the underlying thoughts will we be in a position to respond appropriately with kindness and thoughtfulness.
Word salad. So they said that cis women being offended by the term cis comes from white supremacy. She didn't go on to say how it came from white supremacy. She's just taken the label of white supremacy and then told you that if you are offended by the term cis, this is why you're offended. You're offended because you're a white supremacist. And then she doesn't even tell us why it's anything to do with white supremacy. So okay, if a black woman is offended by the term cis woman, has she got internalized white supremacy? Do you see the mental gymnastics that they have to create? No, you're assuming you know why they're upset. They are upset because they are offended by the term. That's why they're upset. You can't tell them why they're upset and then expect them to process the feelings that you've told them to have. That's not how it works. If they're going to process their feelings, they're going to feel things, then process them, not be told what to feel, then process them. So if you're a woman, a cis woman, I don't like the term either, ladies, don't worry. If you're a woman and you don't like the term cis because you feel like it's reducing you to biology when there's a lot more to it than that, if you don't like that term, you don't like that term for whatever reason. You don't need an excuse to not like something. It's your preference, right? So if you don't like it, you don't like it. Don't let people like this bully you. Don't let them bully you, ladies. Don't do it.
It's just me. Maybe I'm more annoyed about this than I should be, but it feels like extra disrespectful to misgender somebody when they have a pronoun pin on. Like, you know, I know I'm femme presenting. I know I look like a girl, but it's right here. It like I have a they them their pronoun pin right here, and people still call me a girl. People are still using she her, and it's like, guys, come on. I'm not asking for much here. I'm literally just asking for people to use my pronouns. That's all. Come on, do better. Be respectful. It's not hard to be respectful of people's pronouns. Can we try harder, please?
You're demanding respect for something that doesn't necessitate respect. I don't need to respect your pronouns. I don't need to, right? There is respect is earned. So I will use your pronouns if you completely wholeheartedly convert over, but you're a woman. Like, you can't you can't be they, them and all this non-binary stuff. You're not trying. It's an attention-seeking, narcissistic, look at me. Like, no, you can't make me do something. You can't make me call you something. You can't do that. You can't make me do that. Because that then opens the door for me to ask you to call me anything I like. And I'm not asking for much. Do better. Like, it doesn't make any sense. With this logic, you can be requested to be called anything. You could be called protein shaker if you wanted it to be. I know it's an old meme about attack helicopter, but it makes sense. Like, you're demanding I call you something that isn't factually true. So using the same standards, I can be requested to be called anything. So I don't owe you respect for that. No, I don't. I actually think you demanding it from me is quite disrespectful to me. If we're talking about respect here, I think you're being disrespectful.
All I'm trying to say here is just be respectful of people. It feels really shitty to have something so clearly dictate what my pronouns are and people still misgender me. It's not hard to be respectful of people's pronouns. It's really not.
So again, you're a hypocrite, because the respect stops with you. You're the only entity in this situation that requires respect. There's two people in this situation. There's the person, you, that wants to be called Butt Stallion the Unicorn, and then there's the person who doesn't want to call you Butt Stallion the Unicorn. And respect only applies to you. You don't have to respect their choice to say no. They have to obey you. So it's not about mutual respect, is it? It's about authoritarianism. It's about you wanting power over that person. You get to dictate how they speak. No, it's very fascistic.
This is a day in the life of a childless woman.
I've
I
seen
wake
this.
up at 6 a.m. I remember that I have no kids to take to school, so I take an edible, masturbate, and go back to sleep. I wake up at 12:30 p.m. and get ready for a busy day of doing whatever the I feel like. I put on my most impractical and stylish shoes, since I won't be chasing a child around the grocery store. I go to my fave spot in Paris to grab a croissant. I do a meditation sesh on the plane, since I have no screaming kids, allowing me all the time in the world to become enlightened. The weightlessness of my existence has granted me superhuman powers. I teleport myself back home. Then I get ready for a night out with whatever hot guy I met on Raya that morning. I call up a babysitter and tell her that I don't need her since I still don't have kids. Now it's time for a workout, so I hit Mount Everest for a quick climb. I invent a time machine, go back in time, and kill Hitler. Freeze, you bastard! It's amazing what you can do when you have this much free time. And that's a day in the life of a childless woman.
When I say that feminism went wrong, that's an example of what I'm talking about. So the original feminism, like when I say about like doctors and surgeons and lawyers and accountants, women should have been able to do that. Blah, 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 blah. Fair enough, right? But now we're at the point where we're convincing women that children are a bad idea. And if we convince people that children are a bad idea, we cease to be. So I don't understand how that is a good idea. Yeah, let's stop breeding. Let's stop breeding and go extinct. It's completely illogical, and it all comes down to sacrificing the species. The procreation of the species is being sacrificed so they can live shallow, baseless lives where they can just have fuckboys and eat croissants and masturbate and eat edibles. Like, is that really life? Is that really something that you'd look back on and think, yeah, I made a difference? It's just completely irrational to me. But that's where I think it went wrong. When I said in a previous video that it's sort of turned into a supremacy movement. Like, women only care about themselves now. Like, they used to care about their place in society. So original feminists were like, we're in a society and we're downtrodden, so we need to be equal in society, which I agree with, which we needed to do, which we've done. But now there's women breaking away thinking they don't need anybody, and they'll just get a career and then get to 55, 65, realise they've got no kids, all of their friends have got families, and they're sat alone with a dog or a cat. And it's not a nice way to die. It's not. Jordan Peterson says if you don't have a family by the time you get to 45, it's incredibly lonely. And it's true. And we shouldn't be convincing young ladies that this is a good idea, because again, with the trans stuff, if you make a decision now that you can't reverse in 20 years, in 20 years you're going to regret it. So don't do it. Like, make the right decisions, make the better choices.
Hi there, you must be new to my account. I say white to remind people.
It's her again, the white woman.
That white supremacy is everywhere. Because in order for true equality to happen, white supremacy has to be dismantled. And a lot of people are not even aware of their use of whiteness unless someone like me points it out by calling it white. In your case, you as a white woman telling an Asian woman how to speak on her account is a pretty white privileged mindset. Because I would have never thought to go to your account and say, hey, your face is really annoying. You should change your profile photo. I would never say that to you.
So somebody makes an accusation towards you, slightly inferring that you are using bigoted language, as in why can't you say white properly? Because if I was saying Asian in a weird way, you'd have a problem. So they do that. And then your response is to make an ad hominem attack and attack what they look like. So, okay, if that woman didn't say it and somebody else said it, what would your argument be? Because it wouldn't be valid, would it? You're supposed to argue against the argument, not the person bringing the argument. So, you've already lost me. You've already shown your level of immaturity. Yes, this is your brain on CRT.
Like, that would have never crossed my mind. Like, who am I to tell you that? And you should have awareness of your actions. You as a white woman telling me how to speak is tone policing. And that's a behavior that's very common among white women. You may have not intended that, but there are many white women who act exactly like you. So that's why I say white, to raise your awareness, because it's so ingrained in you, you may not realize it. And maybe next time when you're about to do the very same thing, my annoying white will ring in your ear and stop you. So, you're welcome.
It's not a case of you being annoying. I actually find your petulance quite entertaining and your immaturity laughable, right? I did actually sit and have a quiet giggle to myself while you were talking. It's not that. It's the fact that you claim that people have got such ingrained views and biases whilst being overtly racist and not understanding your own ingrained biases. You are the walking definition of a hypocrite. That's what you are. Like, you are going to look back on this, right, in 30 years, and one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to be just as deluded and retarded, or you're going to think, oh, why did I post that? I can't believe I posted that. I think it's going to be the former.
All right, we have to talk about this right-wing idea of parents' rights. It's literally just fascism. As far as I can tell, parents' rights means allowing parents to control their kids, even in ways that are harmful to their kids. Obviously, as an educator, I believe strongly in the importance of parents and families and other primary caregivers instilling morals and discipline and principles in their kids. I see educators' role as partnering with parents and other caregivers to form a collaborative support network for every child. However, some parents and caregivers unfortunately do not support their kids the way they should. That's part of why the public school system works with social services to make sure kids are taken care of. It's why schools work to connect parents with resources to help them learn how to support their children if and when they need the help. The fact of the matter is, parents and caregivers who reject their children's gender identities are not taking care of their children.
Who determines that? If you determine that, or I determine that, we're going to have different outcomes, aren't we? Who's the arbiter? Who makes the final decision here? So you're going to take the rights, you're going to try and take parents' rights away so that you can indoctrinate children. That's what it sounds like to me.
Kids whose families refuse to affirm their child's true gender identity are at greatly increased risk of suicide attempts, self-harm, substance abuse, homelessness, low academic performance, and other serious mental health issues.
So mutilating them, chopping off their breasts and inverting their penis will repair all of those mental problems. That's all it takes. A medical knife, a magical medical knife, that's all it takes to fix them. All that stuff goes away like that, like it never happened. Thanos comes in, snaps away 50% of the mental health issues.
Conservatives who claim that their real concern is parents' rights.
My real concern isn't parents' rights. I wouldn't consider myself conservative. I would say I'm quite central, because I don't agree with all the conservatives say. Some of them are quite crazy. But my concern isn't parents' rights. My concern is doing things to children. You shouldn't be mutilating children. Shouldn't be happening. Like, if a parent wanted to mutilate a child, I think that's wrong. And if the state wants to take the child from the parent and mutilate the child, that's wrong. Either way, the child gets mutilated. I don't care who the fuck does it. It shouldn't be happening.
Are just trying to use a family-friendly excuse.
Nope, it's got nothing to do with the family. Fuck the family. I couldn't care. It's about the child.
For wanting trans people to not exist.
It's not a case of not wanting them to exist. It's a case of when a child is going through gender dysphoria, 80 to 90% of them, by the time they reach adulthood, will become homosexuals or come out of it and be normal. Right? I say normal, straight. I don't mean normal. You know what I mean? But like, so you're erasing the gay people. Like all the tomboys and all the camp lads and all the butch lesbians and all of these people, they're not going to be around in 20 years time, because they're all going to be transitioned and forced through, because we're not giving them a chance to work out who they are. We're telling them who they are. We're affirming who they are. They change their mind on a monthly basis, and we're affirming whatever they change their mind to. This is complete madness. History is going to look back at this era and think that this was the fall of humanity.
I'm about to run up on these kids and start banning these books right away. Hey, what y'all reading? What y'all reading? Harry Potter? You reading Harry Potter? Oh, witchcraft. Gotta go. Hey. A black boy? No, absolutely not. What you reading? The Hate You Give? I'm gonna give you something to hate. This book's gone. Say goodbye. What you reading? Yeah. I wonder how you feel once this book is gone. Say goodbye. What you reading? What in the gotta go, class act. What is this class act? I'll show you a class act. This book, Say Goodbye. You, hey, what you reading? Holes. Digging up holes. I'm gonna dig up a hole and bury this book in it.
POV. A Florida classroom.
Hey, what are you reading? I made a mistake. You cannot be reading. Look at what they're reading in here. Look at this. Absolutely not. No, I made a mistake. The dictionary is a no. Give me the book. Give me the book. Your diction will be lesser now. You will not know these words. These words are atrocious.
How the hell is he conflating? If you've been on my channel for a while, and you've been back here a few times, welcome back, thank you for returning. But if you have been here before, you've heard parents reading out lady porn. You've heard it. Scraping out cantaloupes and stuff. That's an example of some of the shit we've heard. And this is what children are reading. And he just went round and started removing the dictionary and stuff, conflating the two. That doesn't even make any sense. It's like people have been giving out machetes to children, and the children are running around with machetes, and this guy's going around with plastic knives going, no, give me the knives are dangerous. They're not the same thing, my guy. They're not the same thing. The fact that you could, like, even at the end where you go over the top, right, I understand it's meant to be satire, but Jesus, you missed the mark. You really did.
I shall not read books.
That contain sexually explicit material meant for adults.
Books are bad.
If I am a child and they are meant for adults.
If I read, it's approved by the feds.
Jesus.
What's going on in here? Is that a book? Is this a book? No. Take care of her.
It's crazy. Like, it actually is crazy that we're doing this stuff. The next, like, I think they're deliberately trying to push books so far. They're trying to make books so sexually explicit and so problematic that when people on the right start complaining, they're going to start saying, look, they're burning the books again. It's like the Nazis burning the books. No, you're giving children pornography. Why don't we just issue a Playboy magazine to every school in the fucking country? Why not? It makes just as much sense. Jesus Christ. Please, God, help save these people. Help save these people. You've got an agnostic praying. That's how fucked up you are.
Okay, sweetie, so apparently you're not wanting to understand or listen. So, hi, I'm Mama Rose. I am a transgendered woman. I go by she, her, they, them pronouns. And I can tell you right now, my period I experience every month is very real, very valid, and very painful. But you know what? You go ahead and keep invalidating trans women. You go ahead and keep telling them that their experience is not real. You go ahead and keep telling them that, because if that makes you feel like a real woman, if that makes you feel so big and important, sweetie, then you go do it. Whatever helps you sleep at night, boo-boo. But I'm here to tell you the real facts. Trans women experience menstrual cycles. Not all of us. Oh no, not all of us, no. Some of us are lucky and don't have to go through it. And then some of us, like myself, go through it every month. Every month. The cramps, the bloating, the fatigue, the nausea, all of it. The only thing I don't get is a menstrual cycle. I don't bleed. That's the only difference. And if that...
So you're not getting a period. That's what your period is. Your period is your body cycling your eggs. An egg is released, It stays there for a while. It's a viable egg. There's a peak fertility. Somebody can stab it with a sperm, becomes a zygote, then you've got a little human there, right? That's what a period is. Like, if I took a biological woman and I surgically removed all of her eggs, so she didn't have any eggs left, I open her ovaries up, I take every egg out, caviar style, put them in a little dish and I freeze all of them. She's got no eggs left in her body. She can't have a period. She can have symptoms of a period. She can be symptomatic of a period. She can have cramps and flushes and mood swings, stuff like that. But she's not having a period because there's no egg flowing down the tubes. She's not purging her system ready to reproduce next time. So you're not having a period. You cannot have a period. Menopausal women cannot have periods. It's over. It's done. They might still get symptomatic once a month. Their hormones might fluctuate, but they're not having a period. You just don't understand the terms, my guy, because we're muddying the water. And yes, my guy, this is what I'm saying. People are going to see him like a guy because of the shape of his head. Look at that head. That's a man's head. It's exactly what I've said in previous videos. Why do people keep thinking of the woman? Because you don't have a head like that. If you had a head like that, you'd look like a man.
Is what makes a period for you?
Yeah.
I am so sorry for you, because now you're also invalidating cis women. You know, cis women who don't have menstrual periods.
I don't understand how a biological woman accepting the reality that she is now infertile is invalidating her. To any of my female viewers watching this that have gone through the menopause, or you've had complications and you're now infertile, how are you any more invalidated as a woman because you can't experience an egg leaving your body anymore? Like, that's not part of womanhood, is it? Like, it seems to be that they take an action or an event that happens in a lady's life and then they appropriate it, and then because they've appropriated it or assimilated it quite well, they now believe that, oh, that's all it takes. They just don't understand. They do not understand the fundamental differences between men and women. If you understood that, like, the more I know about how men and women are different, the more I respect women, because they go through shit we don't have to go through. So, for example, guys, do you think it would be scary to be pregnant? I think that would be one of the worst experiences I could go through. For 9 months, I'd be the most paranoid wreck I can imagine I'd ever be. As well as my hormones going all over the place, weird cravings. Women are incredible creatures. And the men are coming to take it off them. They're not allowed to do that anymore. They're not special for that anymore. Now men can do it. Now we're all fucking homogenous.
Because that's real. But it's okay. You can keep invalidating people to make yourself feel more important. But I'm not going to sit here and allow you to invalidate my community or myself, because my experience is very real. My period I experience every month is very fucking real. And I have tried.
The symptoms are, yes. The symptoms are, I agree that. Like, you might be getting the cramps and stuff, your abdominal cavity might be trying to, you might be doing that, I understand this. But you're not having a period. You're not having a period. Like, if you have an out-of-body experience, are you having an out-of-body experience? No, it's all in your fucking head. So your body's doing it all, but it doesn't mean it's really happening. You're just symptomatic. You can go to a doctor's with symptoms of a disease and there'll be nothing wrong with you. So does that mean you've got it because you were symptomatic? No, it doesn't. It's causation and correlation, dude. It's not a period. It's close to one. It's very close to one. But there's no egg leaving your body. Your body's not cleansing itself out and preparing for the next time it could get pregnant. That's not what your body's doing. And just because cis women, just because their bodies do it and they've become infertile or they've now gone through the menopause, that's got nothing to do with them being a woman. That's a very, 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 very small part of being a woman. You can't just appropriate that small part and now claim to be a lady. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. For example, a woman getting pregnant went through like a decade of hormonal changes and preparing her body for it. And then you're going to come in after having some surgery and getting a few cramps and you're going to think that it's the same thing. It's not the same thing, my guy. It's just not.
It's so hard to explain to you that you are invalidating the trans experience. And you can say, well, I'm not. No, we're done. We've had this conversation. You didn't want to listen. And now I'm going to be putting you on blast. Here is your wake-up call. Stop invalidating the trans experience, because my period is very real, and so is every other trans person's period that goes through it. Okay? And so is every cis woman who doesn't have an actual menstrual. Quit invalidating people because they're different than you. That makes you the wrong one, not us.
You used the word invalidation about 55 times, right? I'm not saying that you aren't valid as a human, but you're not a woman. You cannot be a woman. You cannot change into a woman. It's not possible. Now, maybe you're watching this video in 2050 and we've worked out a way of doing it, but as it stands, 2023, nope, not today. You can't do it. It's so deeply ingrained. It's so deeply ingrained. So I'm not invalidating the fact that you get period cramps. I'm just saying that's not classed as a period. It's just not. You can give it a different name. You can call it what you want. You can call it a trans period, right? But it's not a period, because the period is dependent on the egg. That's what it is. So like if a woman doesn't have eggs anymore and she's cramping up, she's not really having a period because there's no egg. Like, it's nothing to do with invalidating the experience, because it clearly happens to you, so you're having the experience. But the experience that you're trying to label it as is incorrect. It's not that experience. The experience is something different. It's not the same thing. It's not a period. It's not a period. Why am I saying this? Why do I need to explain this?
Okay, so first of all, I will say that the process, the journey is ongoing and probably will be for potentially her entire life. But here's how it started. So she was designated, assigned, observed male at birth. And until about 18 months, didn't really, know too much, just kind of was raising 2 kids, working full time, not really paying attention to what was going on. And at around 18 months, she started showing signs of like really being interested in things that her sister had and had in her closet, and wanting to play dress up and wanting to put on lip gloss. And when she would see fingernails, she would want her fingernails painted too. And, we thought it was cute. No issue. We had no issue with, her wanting to do those kinds of things. And then around the age of 2, things started to progress at a quicker pace. And so each time that we would go to pick her up from preschool, she was fully outfitted in dresses and jewelry. And so I will say I was super stoked that we had such a wonderful child care center that she was in, because she was allowed to, experiment with her gender and play dress up and do those kinds of things and have access to them. So when I would go to pick her up from preschool, like I said, she would be dripping in, just jewelry and clicky shoes and all kinds of stuff. And getting her to take that off to go home was usually a pretty gnarly struggle. And then around the age of 4, she started wanting to wear like leggings and headbands. She had this one headband she was completely attached to that she felt, I look back on it now and think to myself, gosh, I wonder when she put that headband on, she thought to herself, people see me for who I am. No one's going to misgender me now. And so it progressed. It just kept moving in that direction with more and more things that started showing more and more signs. She would say, when I wake up tomorrow, I'll be a girl. And we were kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. And my husband and I would be like, we gotta figure this thing out. And so kind of for that final test, my husband decided, you know what, we're gonna figure this thing out. We're gonna tap into this and see what happens. So he said, I'm gonna coach a t-ball team and I want her to be on it. And so I was like, all right, let's do it. Well, that didn't go over so well. She not only hated t-ball, she hated the uniform, she hated the hat. We found everything in the trash multiple times. She was, you couldn't get her out the door to go play on Saturday mornings. And so eventually I thought at one point, well, what if I let you wear your leggings and a tank top underneath, and we can, as soon as the game's over, you can take your uniform off. And she was like, okay. So she wore the headband, she didn't wear the hat, she wore the headband, she wore the clothes underneath her uniform, and she would go to the game and she would stand there, and as soon as it was like, game over, she would rip those clothes, that uniform off and stand and proud in her tank top and her leggings. And very shortly after that, she told us she was a girl, and we believe her.
That's problematic!
Indeed it is, Rob. Indeed it is. I've seen that one before. I've commented on that one before. I've covered that one on the channel before. The spineless. The parents were fucking spineless. That you can tell from the use of language. Like it was always like, oh, whatever the kid wants to do, we'll let the kid do. No. What if your kid thought bleach tasted nice? Would you get him a glass and pour him one? No. And our boundaries seems to have become fuzzy. So you wouldn't let your kid jump off a cliff. You would let your kid eat a cheeseburger, but you won't let your kid do this and you won't let your kid do that. And we've now put transitioning the child from something we'd never consider into something, yeah, why the fuck not? Let the kid decide that. That used to be the parent's choice. That used to be the parent trying to guide the child and raise the child, hence raising children, right? And now we're just putting a lead on them and letting them raise themselves. It's stupid. It really is. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you watching this. Peace.